Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report for Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Yes, the second to last Tuesday of the month of October. Tonight is a crazy, crazy night. And before I get into that, shout out to the gentleman behind the glass, Joseph Shea, Evan Lewis, Olu, Kate Horton, and of course, Bennett. Shout out to our new sponsor and partnership, WagerWire. I had a great show this morning with CXO, CFO, whatever we are going to use for a title, Travis Geiger from WagerWire, explaining exactly what this company is all about and where it is and where it's going to. So if you haven't downloaded the app, go to Google Play or wherever you download the apps. Download WagerWire. It's free. Sync up all your bets. Keep track of your ROI. Get all the promos, free bets and promos from DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, Fox, whatever is out there, grab them. And if you're looking for a little side hustle, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you, and they'll take good care of you, Travis, Zach, and the rest of the team over there. But tonight is special, not because the NBA starts. You know my thoughts about NBA in October, November. NHL, every team playing. ESPN having their own red zone with Mr. Bucci Gross himself. And I get to break down these games with the NHL expert, good friend, colleague, family member, the one and only, Mr. Andrew McInnis.
You are the best at those intros, Jeff. Good to be here with you.
It's awesome to be here. You know, again, apologies for the late start. It's all on me. Tuesdays are now Fridays where everything gets caught up. So many shows, meetings, yada, yada, yada. So our goal, again, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock with you here on my show and channel on Tuesdays. And then we reciprocate on Thursdays on yours. And tonight is Christmas. I look at this slate, and I'm going to tell you, Andrew, there is one game that smells to holy heaven to me, and I hope you're on the same side. I mean, listen, we know our eyes are trained to smell rats, smell cheese, and one sticks out like a sore thumb, and it's like I'd rather not play it. I just prove me wrong, but we will eventually get to this game.
I need you to tell me. I can't hold the suspense. I'll wait if you need me to, though. I'll wait.
No, all right. I'm going to go to the stench of the night, and you're going to tell me, no way, Jeff. The stench of the night is the Vegas and Flyer game in my eyes. That looks way too. I mean, we're talking Vegas, home, fortress. In come the Philadelphia Flyers. No Bernie Parent, no Bobby Clark. And yet this line is trending the wrong way. Am I crazy?
It is a very weird number. And the thing is, this isn't football. This isn't the Niners on a Monday Night Football where, you know, the home dog point spread type of thing. This is a money line sport. I'm with you. It seems very weird. It's peculiar. It's a rested Philadelphia team that was in Dallas. They should be used to the time zone by now. There shouldn't be any surprises. The game is late. You know what's crazy, Jeff? Where I am in the far East Coast, that game doesn't start until Wednesday where I live, believe it or not. That's how late that game is for me. But I have my eyes set on the under in that game, actually, under 6. I've realized that the Vegas Golden Knights are a team that they've found a way to win low scoring, high scoring. They're just the team that knows how to win hockey games point blank, period. And Philadelphia, they're going back to that old style, the Carter Hart, the defensive play. They're not going to blow anybody away with their offensive ability. I think that, and, even early in the season, I have to own up to mistakes that I was, making. I think I've lost 2 overs on Vegas games. Maybe one was full game, one was first period. I think this team knows how to get a lead, knows how to sit on it. I can't see this game being one of those ones that just is the most high-scoring game of the day. We've got 16 games. You know how it is, Jeff. We've talked about this before. A Sunday Night Football, right? The bailout special. This is the equivalent of the bailout special for anybody that had a rough go today on Tuesday with the other 15 games. And what do people love to bet? The last game of the day. It's never an under. It's always the over and the favorite. I think it's the old adage, primetime unders, primetime dogs.
Well, and I feel like I'm the guy that's been staring at the Christmas tree now for 3 weeks. I got the biggest present. Everyone's waiting till everyone gets up. Everyone's sitting around with their coffee, their hot chocolate, their eggnog. And in comes Jeff that steals the biggest present because we have 16 games. It's just this game sticks out, and it's like that wart that's pulsating, like, and I'm just like, get me away from this game. There's 15 others. And I would give a call to Gabe Morency if I was you. Say, hey, Gabe, I got to stay up and watch this game anyways. Throw me on the grid late night and let's go.
That's what I'm going to be on. That's actually when I'll be there. I'll be on at 10:10 Eastern time, 10:10 Eastern time until 11 Eastern time. So I guess I'll be getting off right. I wish I was on about an hour or two earlier to be able to sweat out all those games. But yeah, and one thing great today, Jeff, that obviously I know you're aware of, but for all the viewers, every single game has a different start time. It reminds me of back when the COVID lockdowns were going on. We had games at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6, 8, 10, 12 at midnight. It was unbelievable. So now, if you can't find a bet you like or a game you want to watch, maybe hockey isn't the sport for you, because what a night it's going to be. I'm excited, as you can probably tell.
And I think MLB and most of America thought that there would be no Game 7 in Philadelphia tonight, and we'd be getting ready for Game 1 in Texas versus the Phillies. Well, the D-backs said not so fast, and there is a Game 7. But for most of us, I'll have the split screen. I'll be having hockey on one side, and I'll have the Phillies and D-backs on the other. But apologies for stealing the thunder. We last talked on Thursday, so give us the weekend recap. What have you seen now through 2 weeks? And then I'm going to toss the board over to you to start picking away.
Well, Jeff, I'm going to answer your question about what I saw on the weekend, but I'm going to bring something up. We finally started doing our buy and sell segment on Monday again on our Puck Time show. And I think this is a time where I don't think pretenders and contenders is the right expression to use here, but you figure out which teams had lighter schedules to start and which teams kind of had, a tough schedule to start things out, and they're going to look better. One team I want to fade moving forwards is Detroit. I spoke with you last week about Detroit getting off to a really good start. They've looked good. Look, Justin Hall leads the league in plus minus. That's not going to keep going. As someone that's a Montreal Canadiens fan and loves to make fun of Maple Leaf fans, the fact that a former Maple Leaf defenseman that used to get ripped on every night is leading the league in that stat is awesome. But going through some of these teams and looking at the standings, having the fact that the Red Wings are in second place and doing very well. You've got the Flyers 3-1. The Penguins are near the bottom of their division and they're having trouble scoring. You look at certain teams that have not done well, but against the tougher opponents, like the Winnipeg Jets, for example, I think are a bye team moving forward. They only have a 2-3 record, but their schedule has been against some really tough teams. The Coyotes, right? They've looked pretty good so far, but they've had some advantageous matchups and they've taken advantage of some pretty good situations as well. The Flames are a team I'm very interested in. This game tonight they have against the Rangers, Jeff, I feel like is a big test. We're talking here in their fifth or sixth game of the season, but it's not even about the W tonight. It's about how will they play in this game? What type of hockey will we see them play? And then, of course, you've got the Minnesota Wild that are just desperate to get back on track to start playing Minnesota Wild hockey. And I'll tell you, I've really noticed that some teams, Minnesota, Carolina, even a team like LA, that I thought that had really good cores last year to be defensive teams, I've got a big circle around them as over teams. If you want to bet on Minnesota, you're taking the team total. If you're at LA, some of these teams, I think that's the way to go. And I think that Minnesota, you cashed a ticket on them last week against my Montreal Canadiens in the team total. And the good thing about them is that when you're taking their team totals, you're going to get a pretty good price on that because they're not really known for winning games 4 or 5 goals scored. So just a couple takes there, but I think that moving forward, there's going to be certain teams like Detroit you can be able to kind of fade and make some money on.
Well, speaking of hot starts, a name that you haven't brought up, and every night we're shaking our head, is the Ottawa Senators. And as we were speaking, Pinnacle has moved their line. Their true number tonight was 155 with a 7 under. Pinnacle just moved it to 184. You can get the Sabres plus 166, who played last night and lost to your Montreal Canadiens. Would the Senators be one of those sell highs right now?
I think they're gonna run into some problems where they're playing some teams moving forward. At least not tonight, I'd say. But they're gonna run into some issues where they start playing teams that are smart defensively, and then they're not going to be able to play the hockey they've been playing. But I think I said this on the show last week to you, Jeff. At the same time, I can come on here and rip on a team's defense. If you're going to give me 5 goals a night, what do you need defense for? And that to me is kind of seems like the motto right now for this Ottawa Senators team. But they got exposed against the Red Wings in their last outing, or one of their last outings, and I think it's a really good point made by you. So I won't believe this team is any different until I see them win a lower scoring game. That's just something that I think is really effective. And to be quite honest with you, I understand that Montreal hasn't defeated that many, big teams by any means, the Blackhawks and the Capitals and the Sabres. They've defeated who they probably should beat, although Buffalo was minus 180. But I have been surprised with the Canadiens, the fact that they've been able to win games by scoring only a handful of goals because of their defense, and now defensive issues with Savard and Caden Gooley. So it's interesting. Like, when you look at teams like that, Jeff, and I know that you're dominantly a team totals guy, do you look at that and say, I'm surprised this team is winning games but able to score just this many goals? Because I want to be looking at team totals, but when I see certain teams, it's a little bit shocking. Like Winnipeg, to me, is a team that I wouldn't want to bet team totals with, because it just wouldn't shock me if they won a game by scoring 2 or 3 goals. But certain teams in the league, like Ottawa, if you don't like their money line price, you might as well just take the team total.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback off of that because you get our information on a daily basis. I got cute on Friday night. We had a winner on one play, and I got cute with the St. Louis Blues team total over. and it was such a huge price. And then who'd they play? They got shellacked on the other side. The other team came in and just took
Coyotes.
it to them. The Coyotes. And then, of course, the next day, I think the next game, the Blues get to 4, of course. So I was one day ahead of it. Before we jump to this, but you're spot on, because what we're trying to do here is, especially a big favorite or a 140 or 150, whatever favorite, we don't want to get into the regulation. We don't want to use the -1.5 and depend upon an open net, which again, we had on Saturday on a team total. We had about a 3-minute open net situation. And of course, we can't score. We know how that works. Looking for the plus money on the team totals. But if you're going to give me, well, instead of laying 145, if you're going to give me 3.5 over -125, I'm still stuck in the laying the juice, whether it's the spread. So we're looking for the plus money. So it's almost like a catch-22. So that's a great point that you're bringing up here, because we're kind of stuck in no man's land there. So if I'm looking at 1632 team totals here, which we're going to get to in 1 second, you're kind of able to erase the 3.5 over 120, which isn't a big, that's Toronto. Every day you try to tell me Toronto can't get to 4 or whatever against a Washington team that's pathetic. Well, if I lay that 120 or 130 every game, at the end, you got to go 7-3, 6-4 at best, just to break even. So they do add up there. Before we go to the board, last year, the Bruins, an absolute off-the-chart start. And same with Vegas. Are we sit and wait on both of these? I know a lot of experts think Vegas has the team to repeat, and the Bruins, we think, will make the playoffs. We don't think they're going to go far this year. What do you do with their 2 hot starts?
I wouldn't be looking to bet against them anytime soon. I think that you wait until the number gets more expensive. Look, I've talked to you a lot. I've talked to people about this, Jeff, that I'm still disappointed in myself for not making enough money betting again on the Bruins last year. Truly, and I love what you said there about the price and the math of sports betting there with the team totals. But it comes to a point with sometimes where last year I said to myself that number was too expensive every game with the Boston Bruins, and they broke a record and right in front of my face. So there's going to be certain times where with teams like the Bruins and teams like the Golden Knights, you don't want to look to go against them, right? I mean, today you talked about there's 16 games. Are those teams that we want to be searching for reasons to bet against them? And from where I'm sitting right now, I just don't want to do that. And you talk about the Krejci, Patrice Bergeron. You got some key players that, are gone from the offseason, and yet they look like they haven't missed a beat. I think that one thing about this Atlantic division that's so nice is that even though it's going to be harder to predict, we're also going to get some better prices, whether it's the Maple Leafs, Lightning, Bruins. Some of these top dogs aren't going to be -250 or -275 like they were last year. Would you agree with that? I mean, looking at Ottawa and looking at Detroit, and even yesterday, like I know I'm a Canadiens fan, and I don't really get involved with them that much. But do you think that Buffalo deserved to be -180? Because while I'm watching the game, I'm thinking to myself, why did you not play Montreal? It's one of those games, right? And the Atlantic division is going to be very, very competitive.
1,000%, and we're always there, gonna second guess ourselves, and then that's the funny part about it. 180 favorites on the road in Montreal, lose 3-1, and now they're plus 160 on the road to Ottawa, which you and I both know makes zero sense. Meaning, in what world is Ottawa -170 or 80?
That's exactly it. I mean, is it recency bias? Is it the Buffaloes that bad? One thing about hockey though is it's kind of like with a streak. You don't want to step ahead of it. Once Buffalo has their first outbreak of goals, Jeff, the next game I'll bet on them. Mark my words. You'll see me all over this team. Hockey is one of those things where it's frustrating when a guy breaks his scoring slump. Usually you want to look to see that guy have another good game the next day. These guys might make millions a year, but it doesn't mean they don't have confidence issues. Tage Thompson left off the score sheet again as far as goals. He finally got some shots on goal yesterday, but he was an unbelievable goal. I believe at this point last year already, he had like 6 or 7 goals. So that can be frustrating for certain teams like Buffalo. But having said that, I do agree with you. I mean, that price is ridiculous for an Ottawa team that they've improved, but they don't deserve that price tag. That's for sure.
All right. Well, the board is yours. I'm going to let you pick away.
Yeah, 16 games, lots to choose from. Why don't we start with the first one? I mean, you talked about how abysmal Washington's been. And the big thing for them has been not just their defense, really. A lot of times when a team has a really bad start, it's their defense letting them down. It's the offense that's been very poor for the Washington Capitals. But we all know what the Maple Leafs play like when they play bottom-tier teams. You see it every year with Arizona. They lost to the Blackhawks already this season. They played down to competition, but I'm not sure they're going to lose this one. But I do think that this will be a game that we see a ton of shots on goal from Washington. Toronto is 10th, actually, in shots on goal allowed. But like I said, it's not a defensive problem right now for Washington. It's an offensive problem. Simplifying their game is really important, I believe, not just passing the puck around. We're going to see them get off to a hot start. I'm expecting like 10, 11, 12 shots on goal in the first period. Where am I going with this, Jeff? I like Darcy Kemper, and you like this price here. It's only minus 105 here, over 30.5 saves, So it's kind of like what you tell me sometimes with you want the take the over with the ones expected to go under and vice versa. Well, he's shaded to go under. I mean, the odds are like minus 120 the other way, the take back. I like Kemper to have a big day for the Capitals, because as much as I expect shots on goal for the Capitals, I do think that, the defense is going to be in trouble as well with the Leafs, and they're going to have the Capitals are going to have to respond with some good goaltending and turn that into momentum. So Joseph Woll, the thing is, his goaltending has been okay. His number is like 24, 25.5, but when you play a Toronto team, they give a lot of shots, but they're not really a team that I think is going to be able to score and capitalize with a team like Washington that's keeping them to the outside. So just remember, when you talk about a team that gives up lots of shots, it doesn't always mean that they're a team that's getting scored on a lot. Like Montreal, I know I always talk about them, but if you watch how they play, they're used to having such great goaltending, but they allow a lot of shots on goal, but they're not all dangerous shots. You know what I mean? So if you play structured defense and you're allowing shots, then I think that, you're going to make things easier. So I'm liking some shot props. I like Strome over for the Capitals. I like Tom Wilson over on his shots. But when I look at the best prop, I think it's the save prop, because Toronto's going to be flying all around. And I mentioned the Capitals defense has been okay, but playing a team like Toronto, I think that Kemper's going to be big for them. And that's the thing. I think we are going to see a good effort out of the Capitals, but I don't want to bet on them to win this game. I just want to bet on their goaltending to be good and a few shots on goal, guys, and see what happens moving forward. The next one that really stood out to me, and I hate it because this is kind of like a play that a lot of people seem to be on, Jeff, but it's worth mentioning. Carolina, Tampa Bay over 6.5. I don't want to pick a team total here. These are two teams that I think are transitioning to higher scoring hockey. Two great power plays. A Carolina team coming off a game that I don't think they're going to be too proud of. And if you look at their scores this season, not one of them has really been a lopsided blowout, right? You've got the 5-3 Hurricanes against the Senators, 6-5 against the Kings, 6-3 Ducks over them, 6-3 Hurricanes over Sharks, 7-4 over for the Kraken over the Hurricanes, and 6-4 for the Avalanche over the Hurricanes. This is a team that is not only scoring goals themselves, they're giving up a ton. They allowed 6 to the Avalanche, 7 to the Kraken, and 6 to the Anaheim Ducks. And it's kind of like what I was talking about with the NHL. Do you really want to be that guy that says, you know what, tonight's going to be the night that I'm going to guess that they stop allowing goals? Because that's what I've tried to figure out with my handicapping is why do I want to be that guy that says this team's all of a sudden going to learn how to play defense? They're not. So Carolina's known to be a defensive team. I like over 6.5. And it's not just the fact that Vasilevsky's not there. You've talked about it with me before. I think Tampa Bay has lost a lot of defensive forwards. So they don't, like, if their superstars don't play defense, I'm sorry, Kucherov, you won't catch him in the defensive zone because he scores a goal a game. So nobody can really get mad at him for not playing defense. So 2 plays that I like there in the first a couple games there, over on saves for Kemper, over 6.5 for Carolina and Tampa Bay. And I'll tell you, Jeff, I'm kind of tempted by a little sprinkle on the Anaheim Ducks plus money. Not going to make my official card, but you're telling me that the Blue Jackets are minus 150. The Ducks, I believe, are searching for their second win of the season. It might be a play on the Quack team in that one. I can't be laying minus 150 with the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, Columbus has been our nemesis. I think our first week it was we had them against the Flyers. There was a reverse line flip and the money came in on CBJ. And then I think we ended up losing 4-2 empty netter. It was 3-2 late there. I like where your eyes are on the Ducks. Again, in what world is Columbus ever a favorite? Number one. Number two, it's like when we said, in what world is Ottawa ever 180 versus anyone there? Getting to, the Hurricanes, the NHL basically says, hey, we know you're a good team, but, let's start you out on the road. Let's put you through hell for a while. And then, and here comes a Tampa team, as you said. I look directly at that team total because the easy play initially is, all right, do I want to lay the 123 on Carolina? I don't. Do I want to get greedy and take the puck line? Hell no. It's a 6.5 right now. It's circa 6.5 even, 6.5 over 20 cents everywhere else. I look at the team total. Something stands out to me. Tampa's team total 3.5 juiced under minus 150. Carolina team total 3.5 juiced under minus 120. So I can get Carolina just to get to 4 at even money. I don't have to lay any juice. No Vasilevsky. I think it is going to be a high-scoring game. Vegas tells me first 1 to 4 wins this game. I think Carolina gets to 4 or 5. I love where your eyes are there.
I like that too. To be honest with you, I was debating, do I go Carolina team total or do I go full game over? And I kind of just took a step back from my desk and said, I just would not want to see Tampa win this game like 5-3. And I'm sitting here saying you chose the wrong team. So just one of those ones I'm going to just go with the full game over. But I know what you mean. I mean, you're getting even money on Carolina. They're off a rough performance. Like I said, what is it? Two games in a row, giving up, 13 goals in their last 2 games. I think that I'd probably rather my money be on Carolina than Tampa if I was going to take either team total. I'm curious your thoughts on Oilers Wild. Obviously, no McDavid. That's the story. That's the talk of the town. And so it's a pick, minus 110 apiece here. And in football, you like to bet on the team without the key player, their first game. NBA, the point spread's calculated, but it's a money line sport we're talking. It's a pick 'em. Minnesota, I've talked about their defense does not look good. And, I cashed a big ticket on the over in their game against the Kings. They gave up 5 goals against the Blue Jackets, 7 goals against the Kings. I mean, the only team they've looked good against all season really is the Montreal Canadiens. So I keep saying, do we want to get ahead of these teams? Do we want to try and step in front of teams playing poorly? do they deserve to be minus 110 tonight against an Oilers team without McDavid? Like, Draisaitl is still, top 3 or 4 player in the entire world. Nugent Hopkins is still good. Kane is still a good player. I think it's a real interesting one here to look at, Jeff, because if I'm playing it, I'm not betting the Wild. That's for sure. I don't think I would take the home team there, even though they play better at home. I like to bet on teams in this situation without their superstar player in the first game. And Minnesota, to me, seems like they can't capitalize on chances. They're a bunch of guys. They remind me of the Maple Leafs of 5 years ago. They're passing the puck around, but they can't make that big play in the third period. So I just think that this price is a little disrespectful to the Oilers, but even though they have bad defense, I think they're still a good team without Connor.
Well, I'll give you some eyes and what my eyes are seeing right now. And don't forget, you were the one that came on to our show after the home and away loss to Vancouver and was on Edmonton, and they scored 4 in the first last week. So I'm looking at this number. The true number was Minnesota minus 119 with a 6.5. I will tell you that right now they are minus 109 at Circa with a 6.5 over. You can go grab the Oilers minus 101. I will tell you, Bet Online has Edmonton favored. I will tell you that the next move is to flip it back to Edmonton being favored. Now let's go over to the team totals. Edmonton, 3.5 juiced under minus 140. Wild, 3.5 juiced under minus 140. So me being me here, if I wanted to get cute and get into this game, I have a choice here. I can take either one of these sides in a pick'em game for one of these two teams to get to 4, and I'm getting plus 120. So if you said to me, even without McDavid, I think the Oilers get to 4, I would say go get it. Plus 140, plus 120 on the team total to get to 4. Don't forget, it's a 6.5. Or Minnesota at home. We know Edmonton's defense. I don't have to worry about minus 107, minus 108, wherever I'm shopping. I can get plus 120 for them to get to 4. I think the winner of this game is going to have at least 4 goals on it.
Like I told you, I have the Minnesota Wild pegged as an over team. I'm not betting under with these two teams. That's for sure. The real question is, people can ask themselves if they're planning on looking at the analysis you just gave out. Can the Oilers do anything without McDavid? If you're someone that thinks they can't, then maybe you wouldn't want to bet that, and you can take the Oilers or the Wild and take their team total. Or if you think they can, that's a pretty forgiving price there. Like you said, I mean, how often does this Oilers team, even in defeat, get a plus 120 or a plus 110, a plus price at all on their team total over? It's not very often. I'm with you. I think I'm very interested in this one. Obviously, the odds makers had to put out these numbers, Jeff. We don't have to bet them. This to me seems like a watch and learn game. I'm going to be curious to see after 5 or 10 minutes, even just seeing this game, how it pans out. One prop I do like in this one, I want to get the updated price for you before I like Ryan Nugent Hopkins to have a big game here in this one, Jeff. I'll try and get the updated number. Where is it here? Okay, so for reference for people, Evander Kane over 2.5 minus 166 here. Leon Draisaitl is 3.5 over plus 115. You've got Hyman over 3.5 plus 135. But you've got Ryan Nugent Hopkins over plus 114 at DraftKings. Whenever someone gets injured, whether it's Kane, Draisaitl, or McDavid, the next man up from the props market, I think, is Ryan Nugent Hopkins. And he's someone that's going to have increased ice time, going to be expected to play a better role here. And taking a look at who he's playing with, he's in the second line centering between Warren Fogle and Zach Hyman. And no offense to those two players, but Nugent Hopkins is the guy on that team, that line. So you're giving me plus 114 on the second line center for the Oilers without McDavid to get to 3 shots. I think it's a pretty good deal.
I know you have just 1 minute because you have to head off to us. Are you surprised the Rangers minus 125 favorites at the Flames tonight?
I am. I like this spot actually for the dog. If I'm playing it, I'm playing the dog here. But my best pick in that one actually is the under. The Calgary Flames play their best hockey at home, but they also play their best defensive hockey at home. It's kind of funny, Jeff, just the way it seems to work out for me, but I seem to like overs in the early games tonight and unders in the late games. So hopefully the unders aren't putting me to sleep. But I think the Flames play some defensive hockey tonight.
I mean, this show should have been 3 hours long, but we're going to catch back up on your channel on Thursday. Tell everyone what you have for them at WagerTalk and where they can find all your work, Andrew.
Yeah, today is the last day to get 1 month of picks for $199. You can get that at my profile page at wagertalk.com. No coupon needed or anything like that. So doing well with the NFL props. Sides need a little bit of work, but NFL is doing pretty good. And CFL playoffs start very soon. And I look forward to talking about them a little bit on Thursday with you, and we'll update people on the futures market. But I thank you, Jeff, for having me on as always. And anybody wants to see any live tweets or live bets from me, you can follow me on Twitter at McInnis Picks.
The one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at WagerTalk. Please go follow him. Go also over to YouTube, Mayflower Sports, and subscribe. It's free. 5 o'clock, myself and Riley will catch back up with the closing bell. So, guys, stay tuned, and we will see you soon.